A warm welcome to everyone here in the big tent at GIA and to those who are watching us live on Facebook. Thank you all for being here. What a great start to Career Fair 2019. The song was Make Way by Aloe Black, and the designs are by students in our Jewelry Design and Technology, Jewelry Design, and Comprehensive CAD/CAM for Jewelry classes. Great job, everyone. I'm Jennifer Wilson, and I'm GIA's Senior Vice President and General Counsel, and I'm absolutely delighted to welcome you all here today to our beautiful campus. Many of you are GIA students and graduates who already know that this is the career for you. But there are also many of you here today, I'm sure, who are wondering if this exciting world of gems and jewelry is the place for you. And here are a few facts that might help you with your decisions. 1, jewelry is a huge business. Fine jewelry sales were $69 billion in 2018 in the US alone. And if you add the rest of the world, the number is $185 billion US dollars. 2, since the time of our distant ancestors stringing shells onto fiber, people have made and shared and given jewelry to each other to mark important moments in their lives. And I don't think that's going to be changing. 3, today we have great resources for you to help you chart your path. And they're all here listed in your program, so make sure you use this today. For today we have more than 40 companies, 42 actually, a record, including well-known global and national retail brands, local independents, leading designers, and manufacturers, all looking for great people to fill hundreds of positions. And we have 25 industry leaders here today to offer you their expertise as one-on-one coaches. And our 10 speakers today bring their insights into success and careers in today's market. I hope you agree that those are all very compelling reasons for you being here today and for being part of this very exciting industry. Over the years, we've had many inspiring career fair success stories. People who launched their careers at this event, and you're going to meet one of them today on our panel. I hope it happens to you too, and that you'll come back someday and share your stories of success with us. The GIA Jewelry Career Fair started at a meeting 29 years ago between the Jewelers 24 Karat Club of Southern California and Catherine Kimmel, a leader at GIA for nearly 30 years who retired just last month. The two organizations teamed up to create the first career fair in 1991, and we've been bringing this great event to aspiring gem and jewelry professionals like you ever since. I'd like to take a minute right now and recognize Catherine Kimmel for her incredible leadership in establishing the career fair and bringing it to this community year after year. Catherine. And now it is my pleasure to introduce the Vice President of the Jewelers 24 Karat Club of Southern California. Please join me in welcoming Karen Basta.
Just wait and see. They gon' talk about me, and things won't never be the same.
Nice. Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Jennifer. Everybody, good morning. Welcome, welcome. I'm Karen Basta, the Vice President of the Jewelers 24 Karat Club of Southern California. And I'd like to give Jennifer and everybody here involved in putting this affair on a big thank you. Congratulations, Catherine Kimmel. A little backstory, you just heard from Jennifer, a little backstory about the Jewelers 24 Karat Club. We are a national organization of jewelers headquartered in Southern California, and this year is our 75th year. Our members span from the West Coast to the East Coast. We are jewelers, we're manufacturers, we are wholesalers, appraisers, designers, publishers, artists, service providers, teachers, mentors. We are a vast industry. The mission of the 24 Karat Club is to promote ethical business practices among networking and sponsoring educational events along with charitable giving back to our community. As an example, the 24 Karat Club is a co-founder of the GIA's Career Fair, and we're very proud to be a part of it, participate with this every year. This event is such a wonderful opportunity, and it's a great thing that we're having this here today. To absorb information from the industry panel discussions to job recruiting, getting reacquainted with colleagues, and networking. Each year following the Career Fair, the 24 Karat Club holds its own dinner dance, which this year is being held at the prestigious Montage Hotel in Beverly Hills. It's a fantastic party, and it puts the finishing touch on a great two-day extravaganza starting here. Today here at the GIA, I see the future of our industry. Absolutely great potential that each and every student has had. It's a fantastic career opportunity. Things have changed considerably over the past several years, rapidly changing technological advances, social media, industry influencers, bloggers, podcasts. Changes are still constant. When I close my eyes at night, I wonder how far I'll be behind tomorrow when I wake up. One thing is certainty, the doors of opportunity open the industry, and with the knowledge that you've learned here at GIA. From becoming a graduate gemologist, a jeweler, a designer, you will leave here with a very strong foundation for your career path. There have never been opportunities like the ones that exist here today within the jewelry industry. GIA was founded in 1931, and although so much has changed since then, there still are very few important things that we can learn from our founding fathers, and those are integrity, honesty, trust, building relationships. With these qualities in this industry, this will enable success. Many important business transactions were consummated on a handshake based on these traits. Those days may have changed. Times indeed have changed, but the industry has lasted and will endure for generations to come. Always remember the key factors: integrity, honesty, trust, and relationships. Carry these with you and you'll hit success every time. I'm excited to meet as many of you as I can today. Give me a shout. I'd love to learn who you are, where you're going. I'd love to know what you've learned. Good luck with each and all of your careers, and make a commitment and possibly join your local jewelry organization programs such as AGTA or WJA, AGS. Become GIA alumni, join the 24 Karat Club. These kind of organizations will give you additional support in your future, and they're very good things to belong to, and you get a great commingling with your fellow business people. Good luck with your career, and we wish you all the best of everything today. I hope you find everything that you are looking for here at Career Fair. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Come say it to my face if you got something to say. Just wait and see.
All right. Thank you, Karen. I think the relationship and the partnership with GIA and the 24 Karat Club is just so important and brings so many opportunities to folks. All right, so this day will be filled with opportunity. You'll hear in just a minute from 4 industry leaders about career success. Experienced coaches are waiting to guide you, and 42 companies are here today. Maybe one of them has a position that might just bring you closer to your professional goals. There's a saying, It's not what you know, but who you know. And today you'll have the chance to learn the what and meet the who. Embrace this unique opportunity and introduce yourself, as Karen was saying, introduce yourself to as many people as you can, and learn from them and take advantage of everything you're going to learn today at today's career fair. Our interesting and accomplished panelists will tell you something about how they got to where they are today, how they studied, maybe at GIA, to learn gemology or jewelry design, or how someone, maybe a family member or a friend, a first employer, inspired them to follow their dream, their passion, or the prospect of a steady paycheck. I hope you hear their stories and advice on today's success and will learn from it. My story, how I came to this fascinating industry, is a little different. For most of my career, I've been a higher education attorney, working at various universities and schools. And what attracted me to GIA is the Institute's more than 80-year history of education, close to 400,000 people having come to GIA to learn. My career has taught me that you should always keep learning. Industries, markets, tastes in jewelry, everything changes. New technology and new ways of doing things keep disrupting what we think and how we think. But education is the best way to adapt and to benefit from the inevitable changes we'll experience. Also, one thing I don't think will ever change is the importance of consumer trust. Helping gem and jewelry professionals earn and keep that trust is central to what GIA is about. Having technical knowledge and the talent for design and the head for business are all important skills, but we all need integrity and ethics to earn and keep that trust and to remain successful. Whether you're walking a new career path today or figuring out what you would like to do in the gem and jewelry industry, joining us today is a wonderful first step. All right, so we're going to begin. It's my pleasure to introduce our first panelist. Douglas Hucker is the Chief Executive Officer of the American Gem Trade Association, AGTA. He is a GIA graduate gemologist, an AGS certified gemologist, and a former GIA instructor. He is a dynamic public speaker, as you'll soon find out. He has an in-depth knowledge of estate and, He has an in-depth knowledge of estate and antique jewelry, colored gemstones, and diamonds. He's served on the board of directors of many trade organizations and has been recognized with many, many awards, including the Lifetime Achievement Award from the Jewelers 24 Karat Club of Southern California, the Robert M. Shipley Award, named after the founder of GIA, from the American Gem Society, AGS, which was founded by Mr. Shipley and his amazing wife, Beatrice, almost 90 years ago. Doug, please start us off.
The good news is, I saved 50, no. My daughter got engaged last night in Hawaii, so. I am very happy to be here. I'm happy always. Catherine, what an amazing thing you did. 29 years. And it's just been better every time. I've missed 2 in those 29 years, and it's just been fantastic. And I want to thank those of us who are here don't realize how hard this staff works. And this is not cutting into my 8 minutes now, okay? And I think you need to really, really thank the staff here. What a fantastic job they do. It's just amazing, every single year. The music was great this morning, the designs that were up there. There weren't too many designs that didn't almost take my breath away. Are some of those designers out here in the crowd? Those things are amazing. You guys do beautiful work. We have a design competition called the Spectrum Awards. I think you need to look into it. But We also have an Instagram account with AGTA, and we have about 85,000 followers. If you'll send me pictures of your jewelry, we'll put it on the Instagram account. They were really, really special. You should be congratulated. Okay? All right. Now, clock's officially going. Okay, good. I've got 8 minutes to tell you what you should do and can do in the colored gemstone industry. So it's not always easy, and I'll talk fast. You take notes, and you can ask me questions later. You know, you hear people come up here and say, if you're going to be a success in this business, can you hear me? I don't want to walk away from this thing if you can't. You have to have passion. You got to have passion in the industry, and I believe that, but you know, it's not like you can go out and buy passion. You've got to build passion. You've got to learn passion. You have to just find the things that attract you and learn about them and be with them and make them part of your lives. And if there's going to be passion there for colored stones, it's going to sneak up on you. You're not going to just say, I'm going to be a success in colored gemstones. I've got to be passionate about it. Most of the people in this industry, or in this room right here, are younger people. All right? And I'm not going to use that M word. I'm sure you're as bored with it as I am. I was your age when I was working at GIA, and I had these old guys come up here and start talking to me, and I always would glean a little bit of information, but most of the time I was going, oh, Jesus. Well, we're here as leaders to give you insight in things, but really there's only so much insight we can give you because you guys are a generation that everything is different than what we do. Everything is different than what we've done. And when it comes to, you know, somehow I'm going to have to tie this back to colored gemstones because that's what they pay me for. You have a different way of talking. You have a different constituency. You have different languages than we had. You understand things differently. You have relationships with people that are different than ours. So if you're going to get involved in the colored gemstone business, you need to realize that. You're not marketing to my generation. You're not selling gemstones to my generation. You're selling gemstones to your generation. And that's where the excitement and passion is building. I would never dissuade you from getting involved in the diamond business, but they don't pay me to say get involved in the diamond business. Diamonds are fantastic. They're wonderful, but they're an entirely different process. You've learned diamond grading, correct? Little analytical, okay? You've got to understand, you see that piece that sold at Sotheby's and it went for $2 million, and you see the picture of it. What's the first thing you look at in the article? Was it a D flawless? Was it a VVS1? Whatever. The thing about colored gemstones is when that 8-carat unheated Burma ruby sells, you don't have to look at anything in the copy, do you? It just comes at you. I mean, it attracts you. You have expertise that you're developing here as students at the Institute, but the thing that you want to remember is that when you're working with colored gemstones, you don't really have to spend a whole lot of time talking about how important or beautiful the stone is because it's right there in the people's faces. Your customers need your help when they come in and buy a diamond because you've got to talk about the clarity and the color and cut and all that sort of, you know, those things that are important. Same things are important with colored gemstones, but it's all up front. When you show a customer 5 rubies, it's not like you have to really explain to them which is the best one. Would you agree? I mean, it kind of comes out at you. But you also have to be able to take your expertise and your skill and say, I can't always sell the best one. Why not? Price. You know, if we only sold the best one, it would be great. How are we doing on time?
We've got
3 minutes? Okay. Passion. You're going to go somewhere in this industry with colored gemstones, and I'll tell you right now, you have to make some decisions about what you want to do, and you have to approach it from a standpoint that says, you're not going to go to work for someone and they're going to make your life better. If you don't go in there and say, I'm going to go to work for you and I'm going to make your life better, you're not going to have success. And then you have to ask yourself, what skills do I have? What can I do to make this person's business a success? If you're going to go into retail, your approach, your life, your practice is going to be entirely different. With colored gemstones, you might be working on appraisals. You might be working on quality control. You might get to know sourcing so that when the jewelers back in the back room need a piece or need something, you know where to go to get it. You need to be able to work with yourself or with the staff to teach them how to present a colored gemstone in a special way. You know, diamonds, they have got the little diamond room and the microscope's no routine. What you need with the colored gemstone is light. And you want to take your customer to the window and show them what that sapphire looks like in natural light, because sapphires scream in daylight. Rubies, not so much, okay? Rubies, you need incandescent light. So you learn practical things about gemstones that they don't necessarily have in the books, but you've got to get your customer and your people excited. The one thing I'll tell you right now is all the research says women are purchasing the jewelry, they want more color. They want more color. And so you have to have it in there. But you have to do it with a plan, because you can't just go out and buy a whole bunch of color. You wind up with an inventory and you're not doing many sales. As you go up the stream, anywhere you are, retail, wholesale, you want to be a miner spelunking out in the hinterlands and things like that, you're going to have to start not from the top down, where can I get the best gemstones? You better say, where am I going to sell those gemstones? Who are my customers going to be? And what do I need to have in my hands to make their lives more successful and more happy with colored gemstones? So start at the bottom and think about what you're doing. Because you're going to need that integrity, you're going to need that skill, you're going to need that exposure, and you're going to need money. Okay? If you think you can get involved in the jewelry industry without some kind of money, then you're going to have to go to work for someone and learn. And they will spend their money on you, but you're still going to have to present something back to them. In the wholesale business, your customers are different. 1 minute left. Wholesale business, same situation. You've got to find out what your customers need, what's available, what's hot. Best place to do that, I will tell you, is coming to the Tucson shows. Okay, Gem Fair Tucson is a fantastic opportunity to learn and see and hold and feel and find out prices. If you're going to go out into the field and you want to fly around the world and purchase gemstones in exotic places, then you're going to need more money. And you're going to need some patience, because you are on the bottom rung, believe me. There are people in this industry that have been doing this for years and years and years and years, and it takes time and it takes patience. You're working now not in a comfortable situation in retail or a nice comfortable wholesale office. Now you're working out in a foreign country with different laws and different people, and you've got to be patient. Try to find a mentor. If you go out to purchase gemstones, understand a couple of things. You can't just buy a whole bunch of gemstones. What do you need to buy? You can either be a generalist, where I've got tourmalines, garnets, everything, or you can be a specialist. I deal in rubies. You have to understand when you're in those foreign markets, what is the lighting like? Because the light in Bangkok or in Arusha is entirely different than it is here, or where you're going to be selling those stones. You have to understand that when you go into someone's office, someone's been there with a whole lot more money than you, and so you have to compete. Understand, you're going to be looking at the bottom first. You're looking for some nice rubies, you're going to see the bottom of the stuff before anything else happens, because that's where they want to sell from. And God bless them, that's just capitalism, things like that. There's practical things you need to learn. You need to get out there and do this. But the more you learn about the marketplace, the more you learn about gemstones, the more the passion's going to build. And just for 30 seconds, I've got to tell you this. The other thing that you're living in a generation that is very, very involved in understanding where they're getting their products, where they're coming from, and how they're impacting the lives of the people that are producing them. You guys have an opportunity to get involved in making that industry, this industry, better, cleaner, more giving, more loving, because you have access to data that 10 years ago none of us had. Don't think that just because you know where a gemstone came from that you're okay. Find out what's happening, where that gemstone came from. And I don't think you can all go down and get involved in a water project in Tanzania. That's just not practical. But there are projects and things and organizations and groups and NGOs that are working in these countries to provide more value added. And just as Jennifer said, join an organization, join an industry, and start thinking about everyone up and down the chain has a life that's devoted to these gemstones. And you're going to become involved in it. You're going to become part of the family, and you need to take care of that family. 7 minutes? Really? Okay. Thank you all very much for the opportunity to come. If you're coming in for coaching, I'm looking forward to seeing you, and I hope you all come to the dinner tomorrow night. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you. I told you. Thank Thank you, Doug. And I've been doing this for 35 years, and I swear I learned a lot today. Brand new. Thank you so much. All right. Meghan Simmons is the Director of Operations at Privé, the purveyor of fine colored gemstones and gemstone jewelry, known for their worldwide network of sources. Her passion for gems and jewelry led her from New York University and a degree in finance and marketing to Christie's auction house in New York. She started as an appraisal assistant and eventually joined their client strategy and business development group. She then went on to GIA and earned her GG and brought her expertise to LA and Omi Gems and Privé as their manager of fine jewelry. Today, as Director of Operations, she oversees customer relations for the Omi Gems department. She is a member of the Los Angeles chapter of Women's Jewelry Association and the GIA Alumni Association. And I'm reliably informed that Privé found Meghan right here at Career Fair in 2015. Meghan, the stage is yours.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Thank you to GIA for having me. I am the resident newcomer here, so I wanted to share with you all a little bit about my journey because it is a little bit untraditional, but maybe yours are too. Jewelry and gemstones are something I've always been passionate about, but when I was 18, I didn't know the first thing about how to enter this industry. I didn't even know that it was something that I wanted to enter. So I got a degree in business, figured that would serve me well wherever I went, but I was really passionate about history. And so that led me to Christie's. Every semester at college, I applied to intern there, till finally, when I was a senior, I got an internship in the Chinese Works of Art department, which I will be frank, I had no prior knowledge of, but I saw it as a foot in the door because that was where I wanted to be. So I jumped at the opportunity, and sure enough, it led to a role in the Estates and Appraisals department after I graduated, which was kind of the perfect place for me. If you're unfamiliar with how auction houses are structured, that department is kind of like the central hub where all the specialist departments converge. So for me, it really functioned as almost an art history education. But in the first few months of working there, my department was helping to facilitate the Elizabeth Taylor jewelry auction. And it was really like a light bulb moment for me. I've always collected jewelry. I've always been passionate about it. I really feel that, when you get these pieces of, the pieces of jewelry at these momentous occasions, like your own legacy begins to, imbibe itself into those gemstones and jewelry. And when I saw Elizabeth Taylor's collection displayed how it was phenomenal. One room was just completely devoted to her jewelry boxes, and you really saw her legacy told through her jewelry. And I knew this is what I want to be a part of. I want to understand how these gems are valued, how their provenance affects their value. I just wanted to be in this industry. So I started asking colleagues, what would it take to become a jewelry specialist? And it was an absolute consensus from everyone, get your GG. So, I was fresh out of college, didn't want to quite leave Christie's yet, did my research, thought about attending in New York, but an opportunity arose for me to move out here, and that's when I decided to, kind of go after that dream and make that pivot in my career and attend GIA. But I was a little bit of a fish out of water when I first got here. The auction world can kind of operate a little bit separate from the traditional jewelry world. So I knew I really had to take advantage of the opportunities and the network that GIA provided, which is why I encourage you all today to really make a point of introducing yourself to someone you might not otherwise, because you never know where those connections will lead. And it's something kind of hard to grasp until you're really in this industry, just how much those networks, your network drives your success. We all function, in different roles, and we all support one another. So, establishing these connections early on will really help you going forward. For me, I was sitting where you guys are now 4 years ago, resumes in hand, and knew I had to take advantage of this opportunity too. Met a man who I'm sure some in the audience might know, Adam Graham. introduced myself to him. I had just finished my 5-stone, so I was a couple months away from still graduating, but told him a little bit about myself, and he promised to keep me in mind. And sure enough, a few weeks after I graduated, I got a call from Adam. He was working with Omi Gems, and they were going to be operating 2 booths in Las Vegas, and they needed help. Would I be willing to come meet the team and go spend a week with them in Las Vegas? Obviously, the answer was yes. But more than that, I knew that wherever this would go, it wasn't guaranteed a job after that, but it would be an invaluable learning experience. So kind of like that Chinese works of art internship, I jumped on it because I knew having that experience with a wholesaler at a trade show, I'd never been to Las Vegas before, this would be an invaluable experience. Sure enough, it did turn into a role, and I've been so happy at Omi Gems. But every day is a learning experience. Kind of like Doug said, you can't know everything. Every day I see a different colored gemstone that I might not have seen before. So you're constantly got to be vigilant. You constantly have to be learning. Especially like we said, our generation, like the market is changing and our consumers are so knowledgeable. I get a new question, every day from one of our, potential customers. They want to know more. They want to know where these gemstones are coming from, how they're mined. And we're the stewards of that, and your GIA education will really be your best asset in that regard. But I encourage you all to consider what your strengths are today when you go forth and you meet all these potential employers. And I really wish you all the best of luck on your own gems and jewelry journey. Please come speak to me. I look forward to meeting you all, and thanks again to GIA.
Beautiful. Thank you, Megan. And your story is exactly why every one of the GIA folks here as staff, myself, do what we do every day. Thank you. All right, so our third speaker today is Cathy Calhoun, who is the owner of Calhoun Jewelers. She owned and operated that well-known jewelry store for more than 20 years while founding other businesses. She began in a friend's jewelry store and went on to earn her GIA GG diploma and to become an AGS certified gemologist appraiser. She's been on the board of several industry organizations and served as president of AGS. In 2019, Cathy was inducted into the Retail Jeweler Hall of Fame. You may have seen her on TV. She's been featured on the Antiques Roadshow, Good Morning America, World News Tonight, the Travel Channel, CNN Money, and HGTV's If Walls Could Talk. Cathy, thank you for being here and sharing your experiences.
Thank you, Jennifer. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming out to hear my crazy story. And my story is going to be about how I found GIA, what GIA meant to me and still means to me, and how I want to have fun in the jewelry industry. And it's all about fun and having my customers have a good time as well. So I wanted to start out by telling a little bit about my story. In the very beginning, I started as a banker for the first 10 years of my life. And I was dating a jeweler, a guy that had his own jewelry store, and in his early 30s had a massive heart attack. And it was on Thanksgiving, and he's in the hospital, and he said to me, "You're going to have to go and run my jewelry store." So I said, "No problem, I'll take a leave of absence from the bank." How hard can that be? It's got to be easy, no brainer, run the jewelry store. So my first week there, my very first Friday evening, a young couple comes in to buy a diamond engagement ring. I take them over to the engagement ring case, and I pick out a diamond. They want to see another diamond. Both the diamonds are the same size. And the gentleman said to me, "Well, if they're the same size, why is one $1,000 more than the other?" I look at it and I said, "I don't know. He must have it mismarked." So take the one you want at the cheaper price. He had a heart attack. He screwed up. So of course they take the more expensive one at $1,000 less, and they leave. Now I'm all excited. I made my first sale, and as I look into the engagement ring case, I see all the diamond prices are screwed up. They are all over the board with prices. So that night when I closed the store, I made all the half carats the same price, all the carats, all the diamonds I priced the same because I'm a banker, and I thought, well, let's make it easy. This is too confusing to the public. What is he thinking, this guy? So I go to the hospital that night to see him. His name was John the jeweler. I said, John, thank God I got in your store. I made a sale tonight, but you have screwed up all of those diamonds, but I priced everything the right way. I put all the prices the same. He grabbed his chest, screamed, oh my God, it's the big one, the big one. You idiot, what are you doing? So he said, don't you understand? There's cut, there's color, there's clarity. What are you, crazy? So, okay, so now I go back to the store, and it's a Saturday, and I'm panicking. I'm like, God, now what? Now, he had no real inventory system. I threw the prices away. I don't know what's going on. So just by my sheer luck that weekend, GIA came to Philadelphia to do a 2-day small educational symposium. I still don't understand. I still don't remember what they called it. It was one of the few times that they did it. But it was Bill Boyajian and Jim, I can't remember, Bill did color, and Jim, Doug, do you remember? Yes, he did the diamond classes. So it was 2 days. I took a crash course. By the end of my colored stones and Bill Boyajian's lecture, it changed my life. I knew what I was going to do for the rest of my life. I went on, I did home study with GIA, became a graduate gemologist, stayed in the jewelry business, never went back to the bank. So that's my GIA story, and they created the passion. So I went on to, this is my jewelry store back east, and in Pennsylvania. So I went on to, of course, I was with my boyfriend and I became partners, but then, it didn't work out after 10 years. We're still friends, he's still alive, but we went our separate ways. I guess he didn't like my way of doing business. And then I just recently opened this store in Carmel by the Sea in California. But now I like to have fun in my jewelry stores, and I want my customers to have fun as well. I put a bar, both of my jewelry stores, I have a bar in it, so they can, we can serve whatever they want. If it's coffee, wine, I have events. This is an example of just one of my events. I have a lot of my customers turn out. I try to make it fun. I want everyone to have a good time. I try to have a theme. These are people that can't get in the store. I had to put a tent up just so that they could have drinks till they got in the store. I did a hippie party, a hippie happening, where I brought a bus in, we painted it, everyone came dressed as hippies. I started my new line of hippie jewelry, so that was the idea, to do a hippie theme. People loved it. I gave prizes out for the best dressed hippies. That's a picture of my best dressed hippies, which was my insurance agent from Jewelers Mutual. Don't you love it? But I had a band in the parking lot. We just try to have fun. These are people just having a good time. I do car shows in the parking lot. I'm trying to give everybody an idea of, in the jewelry business, it can be really fun. You can cross-promote all kinds of things to keep people interested. But these people are coming in to also buy jewelry. And I'll have car charms the days when I do my Ferrari events. I do a great event at the Colonial Theater. And this is the old theater near me where the original Blob was filmed, that Steve McQueen's first movie where people came running out of the theater. So I do different events and move my jewelry store and some cases into the theater when I put on different events. Here's everybody running out of the theater. I sponsor this every year. It's sponsored by Calhoun Jewelers. Here's an Oscar party that I put on when the Academy Awards are going on live. We show it live in the theater, and we have fashion shows with jewelry when the commercials come on, trivia contests. And this is a huge hit. This packs people in, and this is a big deal for me. I've gotten more customers doing this, and they beg to come back. And sometimes you can get somebody famous that drops in because he wants to come to the Oscar party. How cool is that? And people, I give prizes for people that they can dress up as a character in the movie. They can come as best dressed, or these were the girls when the movie of with Leonardo DiCaprio in what was it called? Wolf of Wall Street, where the girl like packed the money all over her to go travel, get on a plane, to hide the cash. Well, these are called the Money Girls. So they won the prize this year. And I always give a prize of jewelry. You know, everyone wins something. Elizabeth Taylor, I was friends of Sally Morrison, so I was able to steal some of her jewelry before it got auctioned off, and this was at one of my Oscar parties. My house is a former bank building, so I always cross-promote my jewelry with my house. My house has become more famous than anything. It's crazy, but my very first job started out as a teller in the bank I now live in, and this is Netflix. I'm on Netflix right now, a series called Amazing Interiors, and so while they were filming the Netflix, I invited all my customers from back east to come and watch the filming, and then we did a big film party for that. And if you want to see any more of some of my parties, CNN Money did, if you Google I live in a bank, you'll get to see my house. But I also bring jewelry and put jewelry events in the house as well. So just an idea to cross-promote. I don't have a lot of time, but I was on, when I was doing the PBS Antique Roadshow, I got the opportunity, someone came to me with a pair of earrings that actually survived the sinking of the Titanic. So I was fortunate enough to recognize what it was from studying history, and it became one of the biggest finds on the PBS Antique Roadshow. This is something I do called the Carrot Club. I have a group of self-purchasing women that every year I take them on a surprise trip. They don't know where they're going. They never know until they get there. Sometimes I tell them they have to pack for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days. This was, I surprised them. I have 3 minutes to, that Doug, he took away from my time. Because I have fun stories. This is a group of one of the beginning Carrot Clubs. The guy in the center, his name is Maxim Tmerkovsky. He was one of the first dancers on Dancing with the Stars. So he was a customer, and I had said, can I bring my self-purchasing women? They have to qualify to be in this Carrot Club. They have to spend so much money. And can you give them private dance lessons? He said yes. I put them in a limo. They didn't know where they were going until we opened the door, and they saw Max, and they screamed. And you can see his sweater is all pulled out because the woman to the left of him fell down to her knees sobbing on his sweater. She was so excited. So every year, you know, I've taken them gem mining. I've taken them to Tucson. I've taken them, but they have to qualify, and it's called the Carrot Club. They have to spend X amount of dollars to belong. Oh. Let's see. I just have this because I think we make a great couple. This is where the Carrot Club is going this year. They don't know it, but they're getting 4 nights and 5 days in Palm Springs. And this is a surprise for them. And I have a whole big, like, partial week for them. And it's all about fun. So if you're in this industry long enough, you meet good friends, and we just have a good time. And it's really thanks to GIA, which brought the passion to me. Thank you for listening. Oh, that was awesome.
I never in a million years thought being a lawyer would be so much fun. Thank thank you for making my job seem really not exciting, but thank you. What a fantastic. All right. Okay. So thank you, Kathy. All right. Our final speaker today is Mitchell Binder, the president of King Baby, a noted designer and producer of handcrafted jewelry pieces seen in jewelry and department stores worldwide, with its own flagship stores in Santa Monica, Nashville, Las Vegas, and more than 20 locations in China. Yeah, wow. In the 1970s, the teenage Mitchell moved from Jackson, Mississippi to Los Angeles. And as Mitchell puts it, it was the summer of love, and his mind was officially blown. At 15, he became a jeweler's apprentice and began designing on his own. With craftsmanship, design, quality, and his trademark charismatic personality, he became the go-to jeweler for Hollywood. King Baby continues to handcraft pieces in the U.S., and they are one of the few companies in our industry to export goods to China. Mitchell, you have the last word.
I'm Mitchell Binder, founder, owner, designer of King Baby. I think people would say I'm obsessed with what I do, but it's all about elevating the jewelry. I have no interest in making mediocre jewelry. Whether it's a memory, a lucky charm, a talisman, I love what I do. We have stores all around the world. Here we cater to a lot of high-profile clients, and we give them a very personal service. We can make anything. If you can melt it, we can cast it. Beautiful hides from Italy, wallets, bags, belts, walrus tusk, which is actually 10,000 years old. We hand make everything here. We start with nothing, and we end up with something. I have a sketch pad and a pencil by the side of my bed. It may take making 10 new styles to come up with one that I'm happy with. So it's a process on uncovering and discovering what that one is. That's the fun part. Let me introduce you to our real mascot, Shorty, because he really runs the place. Shorty actually taught me how to love. I moved out to California as a teenager from Jackson, Mississippi. The first job I got was a dishwasher. Did not work out too well. The second job I got was an apprentice to a jeweler. As I learned that trade, I would make my own things on the weekends, at nights, go to craft shows, and that's where I ran into motorcycle clubs and up-and-coming musicians, and those musicians turned out to be Bruce Springsteen, Aerosmith, legends. This is our leather shop. My father was a criminal attorney. My mother was a painter, a writer, and we had a very close relationship. She always told me my job was to change the world. So, that's a tall order. I keep trying. Being a maverick to me means not going with the flow, being a bit of an outsider, but the payoff and the fulfillment is incredible, and I would have it no other way.
All right, hey guys. Wow, thank you. Happy to be here. I'm Mitchell Binder, own a company called King Baby, and this is wild. As you can, I hope tell, I like to have fun, like Kathy. I love what I do. I love jewelry, always have since I was a kid. I remember Jackson, Mississippi. I went with my dad, was having a ring made for my mom for Christmas one year. And he took me to the jeweler to pick up the ring on Christmas Eve. And I must have been like 7 years old, because I was right up to the jewelry bench. And I just saw all those tools. And I saw the finished piece of jewelry. And the guy's name was on the inside of the ring. And I just put those pieces together. I was like, man, I got to figure this out. I love this. And that registered with me, you know, and my message, if nothing else, is if a guy like myself can do it, anybody can do it. And that's the truth, because it's just an unlikely story what's happened to me. You know, coming from Jackson, Mississippi, moving to California. I'm the guy that used to make the rings for the Hells Angels, the Mongols, not your classy diamond types, right? But that opened a door to a world of jewelry that has room for all those different layers of customers. And I love that. You know, I may feel like an outsider sometimes, but the people in this industry are awesome. And I encourage all of you to remember, you don't have to do it alone. There's so many experts, people that will become friends, ask for help. I was the guy that never liked to ask for help. Let me do it by myself. So that's the hard way. And I did it the hard way for a long time. And, you know, that's being self-taught, bullheaded. You do create a certain style, but then when you get educated, you go to GIA, you learn some tools, skills, then you really create, then you are a designer. Then you're turning nothing into something. And hopefully you'll find what you're looking for here. It's given me more than I ever dreamed of. You know, personally, I went from the black sheep of the family to the patriarch, which is insane. You know, my son, I have a 35-year-old son, he works for me in sales. My brother works for me in the Nashville store. My nephew is the head of operations. I would have never predicted that. Stores in China, who would have thought? You know, who would have thought making jewelry in the USA would be a cool thing to do? But, you know, I do it my way. As you can see from the video, we do it very old school. That's how I was taught. You know, I'm making friends with CAD and computers. I'm trying. It's a little rough. But we do some of that, right? Anyway, how much time do I got? I just want to hit a couple key points that changed my life, right? Was started this company. Actually, how I started this company is even more interesting. Started making jewelry. They invented this thing called eBay, right? All of a sudden, my friend shows me eBay, and my jewelry is being traded on eBay, like on the secondary market. So I had all these old samples in my garage. I put them on eBay. It's like a shark frenzy. All these clients are from Japan. 2 guys from Tokyo fly over. Now, granted, my shop is like 400 square feet. I'm living upstairs. My stove, my heat is a wood-burning, you know, iron thing. And these 2 guys from Japan fly over literally with a briefcase full of cash and bought everything I had ever made. It was like a drug deal. I mean, they just popped open the thing. I'm like, are you kidding? I sold the jacket off my back. Because I had made the buttons and the zipper pulls and they needed that. Sold everything, took the cash, started King Baby. With that briefcase full of money, I started this company. The second thing that happened to me once I started the company was I had an appointment with Neiman Marcus. Now, you wouldn't normally think that a guy like me and my designs would kind of fit with Neiman Marcus. At least that's what I thought. But I flew down to Dallas and I set up the room and, you know, I had the biker rings and the skulls, the FU stuff. And the meeting started with me and an assistant buyer. Big conference room, jewelry's laid out. She gets up, she leaves, she comes back, brings another person. They get up, they come back, bring another couple people. All of a sudden, this room's got like 25 people in it. Karen Katz walks in, who's running Neiman Marcus. And they start, putting an order together. And I'm like trying to keep track of this, right? I'm writing it down. All of a sudden, they're like over $1 million. I'm like, I got to go down and have a cigarette. I'll be right back. I go down, I'm up on the top floor. I go down, I'm light my cigarette. I call my mom. Mom, $1 million, $1 million. So I go back up to the room. My mom's very proud of me, by the way. Go back up to the room. They get up to $2 million, and I stop them because I realize I got to make this stuff. I'm still, it's like that's not going to happen. But it did change my life. And we did learn how to make all that jewelry. We became the fastest vendor in the history of Neiman Marcus to hit $1 million in over 100 years. And I maintain that title today. Anyway, that's it, guys. Thanks.
All right, you guys can move up. Are we ready? Okay. Well, that was pretty amazing. Thank you, and I need a skull, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, you're my guy, all right. All right, we have about 20 minutes, right, for questions. And we'd love for you to ask our panelists today. And if you could go ahead, raise your hand. We have folks with microphones, and do direct it to the individual you'd like to answer your question. Yeah, go ahead.
I guess this is kind of a question for everyone. I guess if you're aware with Instagram and Facebook and all of that, body jewelry is up and coming in our industry. But the problem is with a lot of the body jewelry that I've seen that's being sold, a lot of our body piercers or body modification artists aren't aware of what they're exactly selling, like selling synthetic opals as naturals, etc. So I guess my question is, how do we start to bridge that gap? Because that industry and this one seem to be getting combined fairly soon. So, thank you.
Anybody? Directed to any of you who'd like to answer.
I would just say, and you run into the same thing with the crystal business, especially people that are in the metaphysical. Help me out, Layla. Metaphysical into this business. There's a lot of misinformation out there, especially on the internet, and oftentimes especially with smaller companies, that's the way things are distributed. I don't know if I can tell you the solution other than there have to be interest groups and people that you work with in the same industry, and collectively, if you can build a voice and talk about things. When it comes to colored gemstones, there are forums, some very good forums that I can tell you about. I'm not going to list them all right now. But, people out there have the same issues you have, and they're looking at those forums. And if you can talk, maybe it's time to start. We started the American Gem Trade Association in 1981. Maybe it's the time for Body Jewelry Association. Collectively, you can always get the message out better.
Yep. Anybody else to answer to that? I was just thinking that also when you have the trade shows, having an affinity group or interest group that's for body art might be a way to start tackling that. All right, others.
Mitchell?
Here we go.
Mitchell, I have a question for you.
Where are we?
Of all the pieces of jewelry you've made, what is your favorite?
Oh my gosh. It's a great question. My latest is my favorite. And the latest really wasn't a piece of jewelry. It was more of a sculpture. It's almost a life-size sterling silver skull encrusted with 18-karat Privé diamonds and beautiful sapphires. And I finished it, and it sold in 24 hours.
Wow.
And but that's my favorite today.
Thank you. Yes.
This kind of goes along with the body modifications in jewelry. I know a lot of people, especially the younger generation, have a lot of piercings and like tattoos and such. Do you think they're more kind of being accepted more in the industry now, or kind of still frowned upon, sort of?
I'll take that. I do think it's extremely accepted. I'm getting more and more custom orders to do the genuine stones, mostly diamonds, but to do it, not just the stainless steel. And I mean, it's here to stay.
I can add to that. You know, there is a show called the Ink Slingers Ball, which is one of the oldest tattoo shows in California. And they coincide with the body piercing and that sort of deal. So that might be an area, because they have a long history in California, and there may be more information and people that can help with specific questions of that industry there.
Great, thank you. Thank you. Others?
So my question's for the whole panel. I was wondering, what is the number one mindset to have that has allowed you to be successful as you are today?
Great. Passion. Passion.
Yeah.
Passion, but she's just luckier than anyone I've ever known. You know, you have to talk to this woman. I'm in New York and we're going to some kind of event. I'm having a great day and I'm thinking I am on top of the world. And she gets out of a cab at the event and she's sharing a cab with Bono. Totally random.
He held the umbrella, walked me into the Gem Awards.
Nice.
And people in there, I heard him say, is that Cathy Calhoun and Bono? Yes, it is.
The secret to her business is that she is excited about it. She wants, like she said, she wants to have fun. You really have to enjoy it. You're not going to enjoy every single day. Okay, I love my job. I have the best job in the entire world. About 3 days a week. Okay? But you know, you gotta, it's like Mitchell says, you gotta really, if you're pursuing something you're interested in, do it. He got to a point where he couldn't do it all himself and he had to bring his family in. Well, you know, we're all kind of family, but you just have to experience things, as many things as you can, and pretty soon you're gonna find that little path that says, this is where I wanna go, and I'm gonna enjoy this, and have fun.
And just to add to that, how about risk-taking? How does that play into that mindset?
Yeah, I was going to say, for me, it's, you know, sometimes I don't always know where I'm going, but when the opportunities present themselves to take those chances, there's no harm in gaining more experience. It's only going to help you figure out what you want your road to be.
And you can't think too hard about it.
Yeah.
You can't think too long and hard.
Totally agree with that, and I would add, what I've learned over the years is jewelry is what I do, not who I am. Because those lines can get blurred really easily, and I try to, you know, be grateful that I have purpose in life every day. And like I said, it's what I do, it's not who I am. I kind of keep those things, two things separate. And that's worked for me.
I could be even more passionate if you would send me the boss. If you would send me Bruce Springsteen, I could really be happy.
Very good, thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
This is for Douglas.
Yes.
Oh.
You speak about the generation that we are in, and you repeat that. You speak about the generation that we are in and the importance of having access to
Why don't you
data.
take that microphone down for a second?
Since you spoke about the generation we are in and the access to data, it's my observation, maybe I have limited knowledge, but there is a lack of books that talk about the attitude and the mindset and the words of wisdom that you guys just shared. So what is your take on writing books about these kind of, wisdom tips?
Wisdom.
You know, you get to be a particular level of maturity, let's say, and people want you to write books about what took place. And I think that that is very important because as I look back, I started out as an instructor. No, I didn't. I started out building microscopes in gym instruments 1,000,000 years ago. And a lot has happened. The only thing I can say is that your generation, your generation, I mean, it's the same with me. I still read physical books. I like physical books, but the ability to access information and things on the internet right now it's just unbelievable. Depends upon where you want to go and what you want to do. I'll tell you right now, the biggest thing that's happening with your generation, with people that are in the industry, they want to feel good about their products. They want to look cool. They want to look hip. They want to have the nicest thing, and they want to have fun, but they want to feel good about it. You cannot change the world in Madagascar from your home. It'd be nice if you could. But what I want to say is that there are things you can do in Madagascar. If you're worried about the lemurs, there are reforestation projects that you can send something to, feel good about yourself. If you work in a business or have a business, understand that corporate social responsibility starts at home. Okay, you don't have to solve a problem that's clear across the world if you can introduce ideas and concepts about fair labor practices and diversity in your business and being ecologically sound and stuff. Start at home, because if you have employees or you're working with someone, why is that important to someone you're interviewing with? Because it's important to your customer and it's important to your staff. You'll keep more people. And some people, my age, think that just as long as I know what the transparent supply chain is, I can do a blockchain thing, and if that's okay, that's okay. That's not okay. You got to learn how you can make the world a little bit better, and I don't know there's too many books out there that will tell you that. But there's chat rooms, there's talks, there's the websites of the NGOs that are involved, the Responsible Jewelry Council, Dragonfly Initiative, DIFA, the Diamond Empowerment Fund. All of these things have people that are engaged in something that is trying to make the world a little bit better. And so that people understand that being associated with an industry, we're not just trying to sell stuff, okay? And most of us can't just walk into Neiman Marcus and write a $2 million order. I mean, that's pretty good. If you want to contact me, I will send you places, you know, that you can go. There's a ton of information. There's a ton of learning out there for you.
And if I could just add, GIA has a number of oral histories that they've taken of folks who have been leaders and in the jewelry trade. And so I'd look into our library and the resources there to help you with those oral histories, which I think adds to the history that you'd like to think about, right? All right, thanks. Wait, I think we have a question over here, and then we'll come to you.
Hello, my name is Thomas Krebs. I'm a GG and currently in the GJ program. My question is, what are major factors or concepts being implemented into the business or our industry today in terms of merchandising and product placement?
I mean, I think the landscape is changing. You know, the traditional trunk shows and the way we do business, you know, the way we connect with our consumers is changing through Instagram, through Facebook. We're seeing more like pop-up shops happen. You know, the traditional retail market it's shifting, and you know, I'm seeing different jewelers. We're considering different options on how to take advantage of that, how to get in front of our consumers, because, you know, Instagram is great, but at the end of the day, jewelry is something you got to touch and feel and experience. And how are you going to get them into the store or wherever you are trying to sell your jewelry? I think you really, you know, you have to be creative. And, you know, Kathy's got some of the parties and things you throw. You got to attract people in different ways, because there's so many different things that are vying for people's attention.
Very challenging, great question. We have retail stores, and you have to reinvent yourself. And, you know, we're lucky because the average person that walks into our store really stays a crazy amount of time. But that's because there's so much to look at. But we still need to re-merchandise and change things on a weekly basis. And it's challenging. It's challenging. I mean, it is a real talent to merchandise, and with social media, it almost becomes daily because, they expect a new post every day. It's tough.
With the product placement question, it's kind of an interesting question. Where are you from?
Chicago.
Okay. We do the Spectrum competition, and every year we go out and do a photo shoot here in Los Angeles with big fashion photographers. And we've never been able, we don't get, we don't get Bono to come in, for goodness sakes, because I've never imposed upon Kathy to make that happen. But we've done a very good job of getting some people that later became fantastic. But what I'd say in your marketplace, what we do is we take a look, if you want to influence your market, you need to find the influencers in your marketplace. And they're not just bloggers and people like that. You can see how many followers people have. If someone's very popular or interesting, and they're people that you might be able to afford. The things that's changed in product placement is like Kathy was saying, it used to be that I think it was Kathy, saying that it used to be that the stars would, buy the jewelry and stuff, and now you can't even go near a star with jewelry because you get right into their public relations or their manager or what the whole routine, and it's how much it's going to cost you to put it on. But you can find influencers in your own community, and that's the place to start. All right?
My experience is a little bit different, and we do we've done a lot of jewelry for a lot of movies, from Tom Cruise. The latest one we just did was with Jason Momoa, and I would say 80% of those opportunities come to us either through the actor, writer, or somebody that's directly related to making the movie, and they purchase it. There are occasions where we've done it for no money, just for the exposure, but I gotta tell you, the end result is mind-boggling. On this latest Momoa thing, like every piece he wore in that movie, the sales just spiked astronomically all through social media. And I think the message is they'll find you. If you're doing the right thing, those opportunities will seek you out.
Great. Questions?
Mitchell? Hello.
Wait, I think we had one. Where are we?
For Mitchell, you said that jewelry was what you do, not who you are. Do you feel like you still have time to follow other passions?
Yeah, thanks for even mentioning it. Yeah, I really have made a determined effort, especially this year, to, like, one of my passions is bass fishing. I'm an avid largemouth bass fisherman. And I also this year I moved to Nashville, where I have more of a life, just more of a real life. And so I'm always striving for a little more balance on the things that matter. And I think, if you go through an experience where you have some great success, it can be heady and fun, but, it's not real. I mean, that's just the bottom line. That's why you got to be so good with who you are and what you do, because that's just the way it works for me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Right. Right here.
Hello. Is it on?
Yes, it's on.
Thank you for paving the way for us students. My question is, what do you feel like the future of traceability looks like in our industry?
And then that one next. Yeah.
Traceability of the supply chain? Are you talking about traceability in the supply chain?
Yes.
Where our students are coming from.
Yeah, that's what you mean.
It's going to be blockchain technology. I mean, that's happening in every industry, whether you're agriculture or whatever the case may be. The data that's available, even if you go to Tanzania and you go out in the bush and you sit down with a couple of Maasai dudes and they've got the beautiful garb on, I will tell you they also have at least one cell phone on them, all right? And the information is there. I'm not a big, huge fan of the whole blockchain as solving the entire world, but it's unquestionably what's going to It's what's going to solve the traceability question. Much, much more difficult in colored gemstones than with diamonds.
Crazy. Yep. Yep. Ania? All right. I think our last question.
Hi, I'm Lauren Allen, and I'm a GJ. I was just wondering for Kathy and Mike, where do you find the most passion? Is it in creating a new line or specific piece, and then it going to that right person? Because I think jewelry's made, each piece, even if you don't know who it's going to go to, it's going to find its forever home. Do you find more passion in creating something with a passionate client, or when you just wake up in the middle of the night with this design and you know you have to get it out and you have to make it?
I find the passion into making the experience for my customer and knowing what the occasion is going to be, who's going to get it, the provenance. I want it to mean something, and the experience in my store as well. I want the experience to be great.
I love that and appreciate it so much. And on the other hand, I get it from designing and making the piece. And I totally agree that the piece tends to find its right owner always, eventually. But I just don't have the opportunity to always be part of the sales process. So I don't always see that. And my relationship with the metal is just so personal and real. I love it. I love it.
All right. Okay. Thank you all to all of your incredible sharings with us of your history, how you came to be where you are now, and I think it provides a wonderful pathway for everyone here. So, and again, thank you all for your questions. I think that adds so much to a panel event when you have thought-provoking questions. So thank you very much for your part in today's event. We want to make sure that you be sure to sign up for your one-on-one career coaching, and each of the 25 coaches will offer a unique and different perspective, as you saw today. And don't forget that there are 42 companies here today looking for folks to fill jobs. So the panel on creative careers is upstairs in the building right behind you, and Mark Smeltzer, publisher of the trade magazine and website JCK, will be the moderator. And so it's my privilege, and on behalf of everyone who helped put this event together today, and if you could, just GIA staff, raise your hand. I want folks to see everyone who was involved. Yeah. Thank you, and we talk about passion. What I said when I said after Meghan's talk is that we're passionate about you, and we want you all to learn and to be able to be the best people you are and the best professionals, and have a life filled with the dreams and aspirations and achievement of the goals that you are bringing today. All right? So let me make sure I've told you everything I'm supposed to tell you. I did. All right. Thank you all.